Hi, I'm Chef Andrea Glick from Suffolk County Community College. Today we're going to do a Thanksgiving side that's just a little bit different, but will please all your vegetarian friends. We normally think of sweet potatoes. They're put in a sweet potato pie, or maybe they're put with a bunch of candied marshmallows on top. Today we're going to make something very earthy, a shiitake mushroom and sweet potato lasagna. Three large sweet potatoes, 3½ tablespoons olive oil, 1 tablespoon chopped fresh thyme leaves, kosher salt and freshly ground pepper, ½ teaspoon freshly ground nutmeg, 6 tablespoons unsalted butter, 5 tablespoons all-purpose flour, 2 tablespoons minced shallots, 1 teaspoon minced garlic, 1 cup grated Parmigiano Reggiano, 2 cups ricotta cheese, 1 egg, 3½ cups cold milk, 1 pound shiitake mushrooms, 9 lasagna sheets. I like to use the no boil. To start our lasagna, we're going to roast our sweet potatoes. When you're shopping for sweet potatoes, you want the skin to be really firm, no wrinkles. I've already peeled 1 sweet potato, and now I'm going to dice it up. We're going to dice it into about 3/4 of an inch. But it's not really that important that you get the size perfect. What's more important is they're all about the same size. When they're the same size, they'll cook at the same time. We're heading out of garden season now. What I recommend you do is go to the grocery store and pick up some of these beautiful fresh herbs. These are little plants you're going to find in the store about this time of year. They have thyme, tarragon, parsley, basil, anything you can think of. Keep it in your windowsill, and all winter long you'll have fresh herbs. I'm going to use some thyme. I'm just going to take the leaves off the thyme. I don't want this part, this woody part, the stem, so I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to go ahead and pick all those thyme leaves. You can just sort of take your thyme branch and pull backwards, and you see how the leaves come right off. Then I'm going to give them a quick little chop. And I'm going to add those to my sweet potatoes. Next, we're going to drizzle the olive oil over the sweet potatoes and season with salt and pepper. And then give it a nice stir. Fresh pepper. Fresh ground pepper is always the best. Just give it a nice stir to coat those sweet potatoes. Get that thyme around the sweet potatoes. And now we're going to put it on our baking sheet. In one layer, please. You need to make sure these are all in one layer so they'll cook evenly. Again, that's really important. Even browning. And we're going to place this in a 375-degree oven. It's going to cook for about 20-25 minutes. Check it after 20 minutes to see if they're tender. This lasagna is a little different from your mom's lasagna with red sauce. We're going to use a bechamel, which is a white sauce. We're going to start with 6 tablespoons of unsalted butter in the pan. We need to get that melted down. Next, once that's, let's go over here. Once that's melted, you do want to make sure that fully melts. Now we're going to add 5 tablespoons of flour. Traditional bechamel would have equal parts flour and butter. I'm going to make mine just a little bit thinner, so it'll be nice and creamy in our lasagna. That was 5 tablespoons of flour. Regular all-purpose flour is fine. And now we need to whisk that so it's fully incorporated into that melted butter. And we're going to turn the heat up just a bit to get it bubbling. You want the flour and butter to be bubbling. That indicates we're not going to have that floury, pasty taste. Next, we're going to incorporate 3½ cups of whole milk. If you want to lighten this recipe, you certainly could. You could use skim milk. I've done that, it works great. Now, if you do have a vegan friend, you can substitute the butter for olive oil. You can substitute the milk for soy milk. I'm going to add it slowly. Each time I add it in, I'm going to make sure the milk is fully incorporated. This will avoid any kind of lumps or bumps. We don't like that in sauces. I'm going to turn the heat up just a bit. And you want to make sure you watch this really closely. If you don't watch it closely, you could have some scorching, And again, we want a white sauce, not a brown sauce. With scorching, you're gonna end up with a brown sauce. Make sure all of the flour is being incorporated each time you add that milk in. At a certain point, you can add a lot of milk at a time, and you don't have to worry about getting any lumps. Once all the milk has been added into our sauce, we want to bring it up to a boil. So we've already adjusted the heat, it's up high. You want to continue to stir until it comes up to a boil. Once it's at a boil, it'll activate the gluten in the flour and the sauce will start to thicken. And that's what we're really looking for. Once the sauce comes to a boil, we're going to season it: salt, pepper, and a little fresh nutmeg. I like to use whole kernel nutmeg, fresh, and grate it on a rasp. And then we're gonna add some salt and pepper. Again, fresh pepper's best. We're gonna add a little bit of salt. Be careful with how much you add. We are adding Parmesan cheese to this dish later, and that has a lot of salt in it. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it a taste after I've added my salt and pepper. Whisk it in. What a beautiful sauce. And we're just checking for the salt and the nutmeg. It's really good. When I think about vegetarian dishes, I think I want something that's going to be a really good meat substitute. Mushrooms really fit the bill. And these shiitakes are just a little bit different, enough to give your friends, what's that? I'm gonna go ahead and take these shiitakes, and you're gonna remove the stem. Now, I don't ever use the shiitake stems in my cooking. Portobello stems, I do use. These, though, are really good for stock, but I wouldn't necessarily eat them. So what I do is I store them in the freezer and save them for a rainy day when I want to make a really nice vegetarian mushroom stock. I'm going to go ahead and take those mushrooms. I'm going to slice them across. I'm going to place these in the bowl of the ones I've already sliced and move over to my saute pan. I have preheated the pan. You always want to preheat your pan when you're sauteing. And I'm going to use olive oil. It's a little luxurious. You could certainly use canola oil, vegetable oil, or some neutral oil, but I like that flavor it's going to add. We're going to heat that up, and then we're going to add our mushrooms in. And we want to hear that sound when we add it. So I'm going to give it a second to heat up, and the oil will start to sort of tremble. That's what we're looking for. And now it's trembling. We're going to add in some mushrooms. Add a single layer of mushrooms at a time. This way, they can all brown evenly. I am going to season again with salt and pepper. Remember, always season as you cook. Extremely important. Little pepper. And when they're just about done, they're going to be golden brown. This is a really quick process with shiitake mushrooms. By the way, if you can't find shiitakes, no problem. Baby bellas, portobellas would be great. Regular old button mushrooms, they're fine too. If you want to go crazy and you have a budget, throw some porcinis in. Those are dried mushrooms. You get them from Italy. Hey, you see how they're cooking quickly? You can hear them. They're making that beautiful sizzling sound, and we're looking for golden brown. And now they're done. We're going to place them on a baking sheet in a single layer. This helps them cool down really quickly, and that's what you want to stop the cooking process. Now that our mushrooms are ready, let's go check on our sweet potatoes. Oh, they look really good. Let's check them with a paring knife. They should be very tender, no resistance when you add the paring knife in. Perfect. Now we're ready to layer our lasagna. We're going to start by making our cheese mixture. Now, for our vegan friends, if they don't do ricotta cheese, no problem. Take some firm tofu, put it in a food processor, and pulse. It'll resemble the ricotta cheese, and it'll be vegan friendly. And just omit the Parmesan cheese and the egg. I'm going to add a cup of Parmesan cheese to my 2 cups of ricotta cheese. I'm going to whisk up an egg and add that right in. I'm going to season with a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and some freshly grated nutmeg, and a little bit of thyme. And now we're just going to fold all those ingredients together. The herbs really make this dish, I believe. Fresh is always better. If you don't have fresh, you can certainly use some dried. No one will know except for you and me. Well, I won't know, actually. Okay, that's thoroughly mixed. And now we're ready to layer our lasagna. I'm going to take the sauce and put just a touch in the bottom of the pan. I'm using a hotel pan. This is really convenient for catering, but also for big family events. You can get these pans in any store. And now I'm going to put 3 sheets of lasagna. I'm using no boil. You don't have to soak them. If you want to make the cooking process slightly faster, you could put them in some cold water, but I really don't think it's necessary. Touch more of the sauce. Next, we're going to layer the sweet potatoes. And they've cooled down now. Enough so I can hold the pan anyway. One layer of sweet potatoes. We're going to add a little bit of our cheese mixture now. I'll put that right down the center, and then I'll just sort of flatten it out. Trying to just sort of cover those sweet potatoes. Maybe just a touch more. And now, we're going to top that with a little bit of our sauce. Sort of acts like a glue to hold everything together. And another layer of noodles. And we start the process over. A little bit of sauce. This time we're going to top it with some mushrooms. And again, some of the cheese will go in there. We're going to put the remaining cheese in there now. And really spread that out. You can see this is going to be a really ooey gooey treat. And even people who don't love vegetables will love this dish, I guarantee it. Little sauce, again, it's going to act like that glue. Top it with your remaining 3 lasagna noodles. And then finally the sauce. And this will thicken up in the oven. It is a little liquidy now, but you'll be surprised. It looks like I'm adding a lot of sauce, but those noodles really need a lot of liquid because they'll absorb it. That's how the noodles cook, is the liquid you're adding right now. So remember, whenever you're using no-boil noodles, add a little extra liquid. It's really important to finish the cooking process. Even if you're making a red sauce lasagna, you're going to need a little bit of extra liquid. To finish this, we're going to cover it with foil, place it in a 350-degree oven for about 35 minutes. Check it after 30 just to be sure. Take the lid off, cook it for another 5 to 7 minutes until it's really nicely browned, and then let it rest. Resting is really important with the lasagna. Slice and enjoy. I really hope you enjoy this dish. It's a great side dish for any Thanksgiving table. Happy Thanksgiving.